Sonic the Hedgehog, a 35-year-old series still going to this day, collabing with so many things now such as Minecraft, SpongeBob, or Avatar The Last Airbender, and so many more. Recently, I found a fascination in 100%ing games achievement lists, specifically in Steam, and what better game to perfect for a milestone of 35 years as Sonic Origins, a collection game of the original 4 mainline titles for the Sonic series, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3, and CD. So, why am I starting to 100% games? Other than having ripped accounts like Terry Crews.
Spank that bottom, spank that bottom. We will never speak of this again.
So far, I've only got 2 perfect games on Steam, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and Wallpaper Engine. But it's simple. I don't want to feel like I have to 100% a game when I go back to it in the future. I can play my favourite parts of the game and leave it as is. So let's start with Sonic Origins. Sonic Origins is the true homage to these original games, with the classics and anniversary modes for each mainline title, and a new animated opening for each game, which is where the first achievement lies. Green Hill Zone is the first 3 acts of the game, and there's one achievement that takes place here. Defeat 10 Motobugs. And I should say now that I forgot to turn on the achievement pop-up in Steam, so you're gonna have to deal with that. Sonic 1 has 7 levels: Green Hill Zone, Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone, Labyrinth Zone, Starlight Zone, Scrap Brain Zone, and the final zone. Each zone has a boss after 3 acts, except Scrap Brain Zone, starting with Egg Wrecker, Egg Scorcher, Egg Stinger, Egg Spizer, Spizer? I have no idea. Egg Bomb Drop, and the Core. This guy's supposedly a genius in this game, and these are the bosses we get. Don't make much sense. They're terrible. For other achievements in this title, it consists of use an air bubble and clear the game. I did also defeat 50 and 200 enemies, and also 30 with the Sonic Spin Dash in this title as well, bringing the total to 7 achievements completed in the first game. Sonic the Hedgehog started the series, but is it good? I don't know. I like it, but would probably play any other 2D Sonic game over it. So giving each a ranking, I give this one a 6. The game isn't bad, but with its sequels it works better and stays consistent throughout, unlike this one where the levels all work so differently you lose interest and it becomes frustrating quite quickly. Sonic CD, chronologically the next installment in the series, and we start with the new and old openings of this game, which are both still great. The original one from the 90s still looks incredible to this day, and just look at the animation quality in the original opening and compare it to Season 3 of One Punch Man. There's no excuse these days for these slideshow animations. This is an over 30-year-old animation and it does it better. Moving on though, Sonic CD has a few achievements for this title as well, which include watching the opening, travel to the past or future, win a race against Metal Sonic, clear Sonic CD, and I also collect a total of 1000 rings within this game in the process. Sonic CD is a good game, an improvement on the original, however it's nowhere near my favourite Sonic game, and that's because of the stages. Being my least favourite from any classic era game, and that's a shame, because every other title in Sonic Origins, each stage has so much personality and memorable moments, even if they're pains to get through. For example, Marble Hill looks really nice, in my opinion. However, with CD, the stages change so much throughout the game because of their traveling to the past and future gimmicks. I think the gimmick itself is kind of cool, however, it doesn't translate too well in level design, because a lot of the time I feel like the levels are kind of blurring together in a really weird way, due to colours being very weird in this game, like grass being pink and the future ones all just looking the same to me, with a metallic and Eggman-esque feel to the stages. Now, this game hasn't always felt like this for me. I used to really like this game when I first played it years ago. However, now that I'm older replaying it, I can't not see these flaws within the levels, that it makes it a hard game to get through. However, it still has some good moments, like Metal Sonic being one of the most classic villains in the series. So what do I give this one out of a ranking? Due to gameplay itself and the villain, I give Sonic CD a 7 out of 10, because the gameplay is still good, but as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of each level, so it struggles to make much more of an impact other than that. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. What a lot of fans consider the best classic game out of the original 4, and it's understandable. Being the sequel to the original, it took everything good from the first game and got rid of the bad, with implementing new and good elements also, with things such as Tails and Super Sonic, which I did not unlock in this game, by the way. This game includes achievements that parallel the first Sonic game quite a bit, with the opening defeating 10 stingers. We also have Get the Jackpot in Casino Night Zone, one of my favourite zones for aesthetics alone, and finally Clear the Game. Sonic 2 has some great zones that utilise Sonic's speed, and addition of Tails flying with you is great. However, I feel like this game would require a level of nostalgia I don't have to consider this as my favourite. It is an improvement on the original, but I don't feel like it's as good as other games in the series, so I give Sonic 2 an 8 out of 10, because it feels very similar to Sonic CD in a gameplay mechanics, which is good. I think the mechanics work perfectly well, but I didn't really utilise Tails in it or have really an incentive to get the emeralds still, and this is the third game I played where I've just not bothered with the emeralds whatsoever. But it has better zones that I can really appreciate, unlike CD, and a better experience overall. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, the final of what was known as the classic era of Sonic games, until Mania came out 20 years later and ruined that. However, this is the true end of the pixel art era for the time of the 90s. Everything from the previous 3 games that were great was back, and even better, introducing so much new content in the process, to the point it was too big, it had to be split into 2 titles on the original SEGA hardware, introducing 3 new power-ups: the Master Emerald, the Super Chaos Emeralds, Hypersonic, Knuckles the Echidna, one of my favourite Sonic characters, and a much more clear and interesting story, and a final zone that requires all the emeralds to unlock. I think it's clear to see this is my favourite classic game out of the 4 in this collection title. The achievements are as followed: watch the opening, defeat 10 Rhino bots, collect 3 types of shields, and clear the title. All simple, with me also achieving Go Supersonic and clearing all 4 main titles in the process. This game is really fun to go through. I like a lengthier game, and this is the longest one out of the 4, from level design to gameplay to story. It's all fantastic, and for that I give it a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this game so much, I replayed it a bit later in the month. They even turned it into a movie, which is the best one out of the 3 that they've made so far in my opinion. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is a true final to these games, if we don't count Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
No! Schmidt, what happened? What's wrong?
And it is a great installment into the series, making Sonic what he is known today, and introducing so many new characters and abilities that we all still love to this day. So that's the 4 games, but there's 14 more achievements to unlock, and they are still fairly simple. I went back to the 4 titles and tried their mirror mode, the boss rush mode, and entered one of the titles as Tails and Flew, and another as Knuckles and Glided. That's the next 4 achievements. The final achievements reside in their missions and museum features, which work together in a way. Each game title has a set of missions, each requiring to get an S rank 10 times in each title. However, they can be done on the same mission. For Sonic 1, 3 and CD, I thought I needed to do 10 separate missions, all getting S ranks. However, when I got to Sonic 2, I was struggling quite a bit with the missions, so I tried just doing the same mission over and over again. And what did you know? It counted. So it was an even easier achievement to get than I originally thought, achieving 5 more achievements by the end of it. The next 4 achievements are unlockables. Unlockables you get for spending the currency you get mainly from the mission mode we have just done. So the achievements are unlock 6 movie collection items, 10 sound collection items, and 30 art collection items, with the final one being view a museum premium content 1 time. And that's it. That's all 35 achievements. To unlock the final achievement, complete all other achievements. Sonic Origins, I've completed you 100% in 20 hours. Wasn't that hard? And yes, I'm not playing the Game Gear games. I tried one, and the SEGA intro blew my eardrums out of my head. I might try them in another video one day. At this point, I don't see any reason to, due to them not being necessary to 100% the game, and they're kind of just bonus content anyway, so I didn't feel pressured into playing them for this video. So what is my final ranking of Sonic Origins as a whole? I give it an 8 out of 10. And that's due to many reasons. 1, I wish they added the Game Boy Advance games. The Advance series of games have been locked to the original Game Boys for years and years now, and have never seen light of day since. And I know Nintendo is a bit weird with releasing games again, however they managed to get Lost World and Colors off their original Nintendo exclusivity, so why not these? And other than that, in the end I think this game's great, but is lacking in some areas. The mission mode and unlockables are not that interesting or really needed for a game, and the Game Gear games are not interesting whatsoever. They are not fun. The sound chips that they try emulate really hurt my ears, so much so I couldn't play them. So, in conclusion, these are my rankings, and this has been me 100%ing Sonic Origins, and see you later.